Alright, should be going live in a moment here. What's up, everybody? Thanks for tuning into the game plan. Today's stream, fortunately, we got another chance to run it for free, and I wanted to take some time to break down today's slate and also how to approach Super Draft. And I'm highlighting the Express membership today and what that includes, so that maybe if you're playing DFS on a budget, this could be a good option for you. All right, so we just got some big news. Jonah Bolden for the Suns is available to play. I think that means that check Diallo, much less of a certainty. Let me go through and update that in my model here. But that would probably put check Diallo at more like 30 minutes as opposed to 36. And Jonah Bolden's not a bad player, so you could definitely see him having some success in Phoenix tonight. So bear with me. So of course I do all the projection stuff, so I'm trying to figure out the minutes here. I'll post an update. And this is going to be relevant because Chuck Diallo is projected to be the most popular player of the slate. So I'm going to go through game by game what's been going on in the NBA. First game, Cleveland at Atlanta. I mean, usually you'd expect facing Atlanta to be a pretty good spot. And I think it'll be interesting if Kevin Love misses this game. But we don't really have insight of whether he will yet. If he misses, and Larry Nance gonna play a lot of minutes, but their front court depth is a little better now that Alfonso McKinney was signed to a deal. Andre Drummond is certainly cheaper now that he's on the Cavs, but they have Tristan Thompson backing him up, and it's hard for me to imagine Andre playing as many minutes in Cleveland as he was in Detroit. I also think that if Love starts, his rebounding numbers won't be as good in Cleveland as they were in Detroit. So, pretty solid idea, but there's going to be a lot of options because there's 11 games. So, on the Atlanta side, Trae Young is always a high volatility option, so he's somewhat appealing. All right. So, Pistons, Derrick Rose, and Svi are back on minutes limits, and thus making the whole rotation a little bit murky. Christian Wood, it's kind of uncertain how many minutes he's going to play now that Thon and him are splitting the center minutes. And then at power forward, they have Svi, Markieff, and Thon. So, and also they got John Henson, so that's six guys that usually play power forward or center. So I'm gonna hold off there. It's not a good matchup anyway. But this could be a good game for Vucevic. He's a little bit cheap, or that's about the normal price. Slow-paced matchup, but not a very good defensive team in the Pistons since they traded away Drummond. I'm not gonna waste too much time on that game because it's probably one of the least appealing of the night. On Milwaukee, it's the tale of two sites because Chris Middleton and Bledsoe got a big price bump on DraftKings, but on FanDuel they did not. Kyle Korver is out for the game. I'm expecting Dante DiVincenzo to pick up some extra run, maybe a couple extra minutes, but then they have Frank Mason kind of lurking around. I feel like they're going to get him in there backing up Bledsoe. My best guess. Indiana, I mean, playing Milwaukee is always a fast-paced matchup, and Oladipo, he's the second most popular player of the day. On Express, we get this ownership rank, which on DraftKings is numerical rank of all the players, and on FanDuel is positional rank. So, pretty interesting stuff. He's a good value, but a low ceiling option because he has the minutes limit. So I'm not super keen on him at that ownership. And then Sabonis at 9,800. That's ridiculous. So yeah, so we got this stream is more of an AMA format. So if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the live stream chat or also in our Slack chat. So has anything been said on Marvin Williams' status? That's a good question. Yeah, I forgot about him. He signed for the Bucks, I guess. Is that right? So I gotta go back. And then Michael Kidd Gilchrist also signed with the team. He's with Dallas. I suppose that's relevant because Marvin Williams with Giannis out should see some minutes. So I gotta go fix that. Well, I'll just do that right now. So maybe instead of Frank Mason joining the rotation, it'd probably be Marvin. So let me change that. Any reason for the AC for Town? Seems like a smash spot. Super draft plays. I'm gonna get in the super draft in a little bit after I go game that game. All right. Toronto. We saw a big game from Kyle Lowry last time. Ibaka was ruled out pretty late in the day due to illness. Today we don't really have much insight. If he's out, I think that Siakam should be appealing because he rebounds a lot more with RHJ at center, I'm sure. If Ibaka's in, I don't really see any reason to go to anyone. Although Siakam is a pretty good fantasy player in general. Alright guys, I'm getting a lot of questions about individual players, so I'm just going to go through game by game and give my thoughts on the important players. So on Brooklyn, Dinwiddie's a decent price, but probably his price has gone up to where it should be with Irving out. Levert's been doing alright, but I don't think those prices are really worth talking about too much. What do you think about Millsap after the last 2 games? I didn't realize Millsap was balling out. I guess he wasn't really a fantasy player, so I wasn't following it. But I guess he could be returning to the starting power forward tonight, or it could be a later date. I don't really know. He only played a little bit less than 20 minutes last game. On the Wizards, Hachimura I think is a decent play. They said they're monitoring his minutes on the back-to-back. He played about 31. And at 5K, that's pretty good. Beal, 9,600 is a lot for him, so I don't think that I'm probably going there. On the Knicks, RJ Barrett's one of my favorite plays of the day. He didn't play much in the last game due to foul trouble. But obviously the Wizards are an amazing matchup. RJ Barrett, when he's healthy, he'll play 32 minutes a game. And the last game, he played about 22 due to foul trouble. So I think that Barrett is one of my core plays tonight. I'm surprised that he's only the 31st most popular play on the slate. Brent says, I did research on blue light glasses and found it's a complete myth. Oh man, I'm a sucker. Actually, like, back when I played poker, I found it pretty important because I sat at the computer a lot of hours. Maybe I got sucked into this scam. Wow. PJ Washington is the 4th most popular player on today's slate. We were definitely ahead on that one, so I think that Rohit says Barrett's only been getting 21 to 22 minutes. Concerns. So I'm not concerned because when we go to this game log, he had 3 first half fouls. I mean, he could have been on pace to play, 17 first half minutes. Then in the 4th quarter, he got a foul 3 minutes in. So obviously that really limited his minutes in the first 3 quarters. So I don't think that 22 minutes is very frightening for me based on that. On Charlotte, Rozier's a decent price. He's popular today. He's got a value grade. Uh, they've been working on Caleb Martin and Jalen McDaniels, so that's kind of making PJ Washington and Miles Bridges get more minutes. So PJ Washington, I think, is a great play. What was your poker screen name? It was You My Bits. But I made some videos under the name Awesemo for poker too. All right. For Minnesota, 10.5K. I'm surprised some people think this was a smash spot because 10.5K, that's a lot. And the Hornets, I mean, I guess Minnesota's projected for 119 points. D'Angelo Russell, I'm expecting to kind of replace Wiggins, so I don't think the net difference is that much there. So I'm not really sure why it'd be a great spot for 10.5K, but if it was his normal price, I'd be all for it. Thoughts on Graham? I think that he's a good player. That price is about where it should be. Not really someone that stands out a lot, but as the 54th most popular player on the slate, he could be a good ownership play. Did you say forget Towns? Nah, I mean, I think he's a good player. Like, 10.5K is a lot though, so I'm not sure I'm going to get to him tonight. Tim Hardaway Jr. Love? I don't think so. I think with Luka back, that's going to hurt his usage. Did you make a fundamental change or run a back-end update on what drives FanDuel projections in 24 hours? No. I'm not sure why that would be, but one change I did make is I changed the grades on FanDuel so that they reflect the new pricing a little bit more. So the value grades are a little different, but I'm sure you have the full membership, so I can't really think of any reason. Okay. So, Portland, not really any reason aside from the good matchup to go here. So Lillard seems appealing. Whiteside's usage has been down a little bit, so I'm not really landing on him. On Memphis, so DeAnthony Melton was really popular last time, but he busted. He was playing really poorly in his first stints, so I think that's why Kyle Anderson played 30 minutes, but the potential is still good, so that's why I think he's a good value play tonight. But seeing that sixth most popular player on there, that is a little bit high. Sacramento, I still like Bielitsa, but his price has gone up. He's playing last center with Harry Giles starting. Bogdan plays a lot of minutes now, but he doesn't get as much usage in the starting lineup. Buddy Hield off the bench is kind of interesting because with Marvin Bagley and Rashawn Holmes out, he's been getting in the game earlier and for more minutes, so I think he's a good contrarian play. Dallas, I don't think Luke is a good play because he's been out for about 7 games, or I can't remember exactly how many, but I think that he's probably going to be a little bit limited. And he's going to really affect the rest of the Mavs, so I don't think I might land on him. Last year before the break, it was obvious some players didn't want to be at work. That's an interesting theory. Yeah, the last day of school narrative. I like it. At Warriors, um, I got really burned on Bowman last time. I'm kind of curious if maybe he gets some more minutes this game. But Marquise Chris should get more minutes now because Kevon Looney's out. That means Alan Smailagic is the backup center, and he doesn't usually play big minutes, so I think Chris could be interesting tonight. But that's kind of a deep sleeper there. On Phoenix, we got this news that Jonah Bolden is in Phoenix. As far as quality of player, I mean, Bolden and Cheikh Diallo are both kind of third string kind of guys. But since Bolden's new to the team, I'm kind of projecting a 30-18 split. That makes Diallo a good play. Let's see how his ownership changes between now and lock, but if he was the most popular guy on the slate, I might lean towards playing him less in the field. Then Devin Booker, without Aiden on the field, or without any of the centers, he does rebound a little bit better. So I think that he could be a decent play. Very popular tonight. 8,400 is a good price. A little cold streak, but would you recommend 2 or 3 players max per team for this slate? This is Art. I don't usually make a rule of that, but it's hard to find more than 2 guys per team that are actually worth playing on DraftKings at least. So I think that rule could be good. Alright. So I gotta give a plug here. This is the Express Lineup Builder. This gives you all you need to do some lineups on a smaller scale without kind of automating it. And once you build your lineup, as you'll see, you'll get feedback based on how good is the projection of the lineup, how good is the ownership of the lineup, and that'll really help you hone your lineups to have really competitive lineups and be able to compete. And the real advantage of Express is it's a good way to get cooking in fantasy because it's only $5 a week compared to the full package. For most sites, that's around $50 or $60 a month. So if you're only playing a few lines every night, the Express package is a great option. All right. Miami Heat. Someone's asking if Jay Crowder sees as many minutes. I think that if Derrick Jones is really balling, maybe Crowder sees less minutes. But everyone's minutes seem to be pinched here a little bit with the whole gang healthy here, aside from Tyler Hero. So I'm not really landing on any of them in a tough matchup. For Utah, Mike Conley's questionable. If he's out, Clarkson could be interesting, but he's got this price bump. Mitchell would probably be a good play if Conley's out. 7,300 is a good price for him, but this game overall probably not great for fantasy. Lakers Nuggets. LeBron and AD. I think that for All-Star break, maybe they'll play a few more minutes in a game where they are only 3-point favorites. So I think they've been averaging about 34.5. Maybe we can see a few more tonight. Let me just make sure I know the schedule here before I make any back-to-back claims. Because, all right, tomorrow. It doesn't look like anyone's on the back-to-back tonight. All right. For Denver, Jokic is playing big minutes. Millsap, 5,400 is his normal price if he is playing as a starter. And this is a very tough matchup, so I don't really see it, even though he's been doing well. Alright, let me scroll over to YouTube and see. You have a Blackhawks jersey in the back. Says Kai, are you in Chicago? Yep, our company is based out of Chicago. Any chance you can touch on Yahoo? I'll see if I have some time here. Any FanDuel discussion? Yes, I'm going to build a FanDuel lineup after this DraftKings lineup. And then I will also talk about Super Draft and how you can use some tools on the site to really hone your game on Super Draft. So, core plays. I think PJ Washington is really underpriced here. I like the little ownership discount you get on some of the other guys like Oladipo. And I think the minutes upside's a lot higher with PJ than it is with some of the other guys. Over under on the Lakers Nuggets total, taking the under. Yeah, I think it would be pretty low. That 221 is about average, so that seems a little high to me. But of course, we got this giveaway going on Twitter, so make sure to go to Awesemo_com, and you can win an annual pass to the full membership on the site. So I think that is a great way that maybe you can luck out and save yourself $1,000. So definitely get in there. All right. Is there any Levine tonight? Ask Tony. I think that Devin Booker at 8,400 is probably the Levine tonight. There's this. He's just not really an $8,400 player, and Rubio hasn't been seeing as many minutes, so that could be beneficial to Booker. All right. So core plays. I'm trying to get some value guys in here so I can kind of build for the rest of the line. RJ Barrett, one of my favorite plays tonight. I think he's in a great spot. Rui Hachimura, he's been balling out, and this minutes monitoring should keep him around 30 minutes. And because he's 80th ranked in ownership, I think that he's fine to go to. Jordan Poole, I've asked Rohit. I don't really trust Poole because he hasn't averaged that many minutes, and it was odd last game how he played so many off the bench, but I don't think we can really trust that. All right. Oladipo is a good price point, but I feel like the minutes limit is kind of a red flag there. All right. Darius Garland, 16th most popular player of the night. That's kind of intriguing that he's that popular because that definitely seems like some questionable chalk. All right, so I keep coming back to Terry Rozier. He just kind of fits. And then I got a lot of money left for the rest of my squad here. So I got one contrarian player. Maybe I'll try to find another. Donovan Mitchell is kind of interesting because maybe we don't know before lock if Conley plays. If Conley's out, he should be more productive. 36th most popular player in the slate. I like the price point. The matchup stinks though. But this B value indicates that he's at least average, so I'm willing to take a shot on Mitchell. And then I feel like going for either LeBron or AD could be smart. Not a great matchup, but the minutes in a more competitive game than normal should be pretty solid. That really helps me with ownership because they're not popular. And now I got 6K left per player. Dylan Brooks could be interesting because he really disappointed people last game. So maybe people will be hesitant to go back. $6K a guy. Which would you weigh higher when scoring a lineup, sum or product of ownership? So that's a great question. I think that the sum is a good indicator for how high your ownership is, but the product's probably better because that gives more weight to the low-owned players. It gives more weight to lineups with a mix of high and low-owned players as opposed to like a balanced lineup, and I feel like the mix is probably better. All right. Chris Middleton, 41st most popular player. It's a little bit pricey, but I don't hate that. It doesn't really fit my lineup right now, though. So, I guess I can see why Garland is so popular here, because he seems like he'd fit. I do like Milton. I think that the opportunity is pretty good. I'm not really that worried about the chalk here because my lineup is pretty contrarian. And then Wiggins, I mean, I'm not sure he'll have much of a change in his role in Golden State. If anything, more usage, not playing alongside Towns, so I think that he's fine. And so I got 3.25 GPA, not bad. And this is the feedback you're going to get on your lineups. So you want the contrarian ranking and the value ranking to add up to more than 100%. That'll indicate that your lineup's above average when you take into account both metrics. Since this is 180, that is much better than I could hope for. So I'm pretty happy with this lineup about. All right, FanDuel. So Larry Nance, immediately right off the bat, if Love's out, that's going to be a lock. On Milwaukee, I remember seeing that Bledsoe and Middleton are just really cheap still, so they're the most popular players, but very justified. Ursan, also popular, but 4,100 is a good price. I'm not sure I want all three in my lineup, but I'll come back to that one. RJ Barrett, way underpriced on FanDuel as well. I feel like people are looking at that minutes from last game and undervaluing him, so that's going to be one of my core plays tonight. So, check Diallo. Even though, yeah, I mean, he's a lock tonight at 3,700. He played 39 minutes last game. So, I'm not expecting that tonight, but I think that this is too good a value to ignore. Alright, LeBron AD could be good spend ups. Pascal Siakam, if Ibaka's out, looks like a good play. Sabonis, 8,100 on FanDuel. That's a lot cheaper than DraftKings, but I don't like the fact that I have the two most popular power forwards in the same lineup. Although, I mean, because Diallo is such a lock, I guess it doesn't matter. Colin Sexton, A value, so that indicates that he's above average value on FanDuel. That could be a good option. He doesn't look overly popular, so I'm going to go with him. Now I need to spend some money. I have a feeling this lineup's going to be really chalky, though. So, maybe we'll start with the center. Marquise Chris, third most popular center. Man, that's crazy. The center must be super weak tonight. I guess Jokic is a bit of a spend up, a little bit overpriced. That's why he's a C value, but he's the sixth most popular. That'll give me a little bit of a contrarian play. And now, Kelly Oubre and Wiggins, same game, most popular small forwards, so that's kind of interesting. Carmelo, very disappointed the other day, but he's cheap. OG, he had a huge game last time. Pascal, I feel like 8,400 is a decent price regardless, so I don't mind taking a shot on Pascal. And then 5,400. Carmelo fits this probably the best. Jay Crowder, a little bit overpriced, so I prefer Carmelo. So this one, I got a good GPA over 3. The value ranking is 90%, so in case my projection is pretty good. Contrarian ranking is 40 to 50%, so above average overall. So, alright guys, so I have an interesting idea here for the rest of the show. I'm going to show you guys how to really take advantage of the new format on Super Draft. So what I'm going to do, oh shit. Let's see here. I gotta log into my full account because I'm going to use the boom bust tool. This is because on Super Draft they add this new wrinkle to DFS where you get a multiple of your guys' fantasy points, and that really changes how you should value players, because if 2 players are the same projection when you take into account the multiplier, you should definitely take into account the player that's going to be more contrarian, or not more contrarian, more like a higher multiplier. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to use the boom bust tool. I give a projected standard deviation for every player. It will be slightly different on Super Draft versus DraftKings or FanDuel, but I'm going to copy that, paste that in here. So I'm just using the standard, oh wait, no. I'm going to copy over the Super Draft projection because they do use a different scoring system. Oops, I deleted the, oh yeah. Okay. So I'm going to copy over the Super Draft projection, and this is free today, so even if you're not a member, you can access the Super Draft projections. That's pretty nice. So what I'm going to take from here is the multiplier and the base fantasy points. Oops, I gotta do a VLOOKUP here. Projection. So if you're not an Excel expert, the VLOOKUP, you can look up guys in the table, and get the value for that player. So I gotta start with the player cell, then use this $sign so that when you copy paste this, that 2 doesn't change. And then because it's column 3, I put in a 3, and I got my base projection there. And then I can do the same thing, except I'm looking for column 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and that I gotta change this. Okay. So the reason I'm doing this, shoot, I might have some. Oh no, what this is, the first game isn't in Super Draft, so those players don't have a projection. Alright, so let me know if that makes any sense. When I use lineup builder, it doesn't give me a GPA. It says Alex. So if you use the full lineup builder as not an Express member, you get the projection total instead of a GPA. The GPA is kind of like how the Express memberships work, is it gives you grades instead of numbers. Alright. Alright, so the reason I'm doing this is because if you're multiplying the the fantasy points, you're gonna have to multiply the standard deviation by the multiplier. but this doesn't seem to have worked. I'm not sure how. Oh, it's because there's like a rounding thing here. I'm not sure why this rounded to data validation. Number. So I'm not really sure why this shows as a one-digit number. Let's see. I don't use Google Sheets very much, so. But this isn't going to affect the calculation of my formula here. So I'm not going to worry about that right now. What I'm doing here is, so I'm going to just paste the value. And then I want to add this as a column in Fantasy Cruncher. So I'm going to go over to Fantasy Cruncher. Yeah. I use Excel normally, not Google Sheets, so I'm not as familiar with Google Sheets. I was just using it because it's in the web browser. But it is a good free option. So I got to add a column. Okay. And now I'm adding in my SuperDraft standard deviation. And let's see. I got to refresh and then I'll get this. So the general idea here is that players with a higher standard deviation will have more GPP upside. So, for example, Check Diallo, because he's a 2x multiplier, he's going to have a very high standard deviation because the standard deviation of players doesn't correlate very strongly to overall projection. So if you just take some guy projected for 25, they're going to have about 75% of the standard deviation as someone projected for like 60. So it's kind of just trying to leverage the standard deviations here, or the multipliers here to maximize my my lineups. So I'm just crunching with a little bit of randomness, trying to get the highest projected lineups. I probably should use some uniques here, because supposing that you're using the same projections that I'm using, which if you're on my site, you probably are, using some uniques that will help reduce the overlap of the other players. Can you confirm the Bubba Watson projection is correct? Yeah. Well, let me see. Oh, I'm just answering this golf question. Bubba Watson won this tournament, the Genesis Open, 3 times. So he's kind of like the guy that in the Vegas odds, like people are paying like a premium for this guy that's not that good. All right. So I'm going to sort by projection. Oh shoot, I gotta sort by multiplier projection times multiple. Okay. So that will give me the highest total projection. And then I can add in my column here, the standard deviation. Oops, that is this column for this, the one that I created. So I just got a question in chat. What is the standard deviation you have in Boom Bust? Ask how many people are you? So this is calculated, it's not based on like historical performance at all. It's based on the situation that they're in today and how I expect that to play out. So it depends on like how frequently they score points, like how many minutes they're projected for, what the variance in minutes I'm expecting is. I keep it a little bit under wraps because I don't want anyone to then like pass this off on a different site as their own. So it's a little bit proprietary information. Alright, so in my top lineup here, I ended up with a very high multiplier, so that's a good sign that my standard deviation is going to be pretty high. But I can actually sort by my standard deviation here. So if I'm trying to choose lineups that, let's see what kind of range I get. 96 is the highest and 86 is the lowest. So this lineup, you could also sort by multiplier. Like this lineup, that's lowest standard deviation has a multiplier of 8.4. Highest has a multiplier of 11. So in general, the higher multiplier lineups are probably better. You can also go through player by player and figure out who the best ones are based on these metrics. But in general, I'm going to apply the same procedure I do normally, and I'm going to delete some of the lineups that don't project well overall. That's going to save me a little bit from being too... seems like I didn't sort this the right way. Okay. So I gotta sort by this. I'm going to delete lineups that don't have an overall projection that's too high because that's going to decrease my chance of caching. In a smaller field tournament, caching is even more important than a larger field tournament. So then I'm going to sort by my standard deviation. I think the max is 100 something, so I'd probably just take the lineups that have a high projection and a high multiplier / standard deviation here. So, alright guys, so hopefully this gives you some tips for how to approach Super Draft and also tonight's slate. So I hope you guys have some luck here, and make sure to tune into the deeper dive at 5 p.m. with Adam and Laffy. And then, of course, live before LAC, I believe, Wednesday. We might have Fast Eddie Fear. I know he's a big commodity these days. So, good luck on tonight's slate. And I'll catch you guys tomorrow on the game plan.